Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I usually do my interviews on Thursdays, but I had to reschedule with my good friend here, Regina, and I'm so blessed to have her on a Tuesday. And I could not wait for this. And what's also kind of cool is she's kind of my neighbor. She's down in Miami, and me being in Palm Beach, we can't wait to actually connect in person one day soon. But it's somebody that I immensely respect, and Regina Huber is the CEO of Transform Your Performance. Regina Huber drives bold, value-driven leadership. Her eclectic, adventurous experience on 5 continents started in Germany. It includes leadership positions at BCG and ownership of businesses in Argentina, Brazil, and the United States, which shaped her into a multicultural, transformational leadership coach, inspirational speaker, and author. And she just absolutely rocks the mic. I've heard her on other things. You have to check out her YouTube page. All that stuff is down in the show notes, but don't go there now. But Regina, thank you so much for coming on. Please introduce yourself to Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Yes, thank you so much for having me on, Scott. I'm totally delighted to be here with you today, and hopefully you can inspire our audience together. My favorite color is actually yellow, and while I'm wearing green today, or turquoise, it's yellow because it's the color of joy.
Oh, I love it. And you have like everything's in your color wheel. You're just absolutely stunning lady. But like the aqua kind of resonates with this ocean thing that we have probably just to the east of us, just a little bit here, which we're so blessed to live where we do. So Regina, I'd love to get, like, you're so multicultural, like you said, are you fluent in the languages of the places you've been to, like Portuguese no, Argentina is Spanish.
It's Spanish, yeah, but Brazil is Portuguese, yes.
So how many languages do you speak?
5.5.
What's the half?
And I'm not counting Latin, okay, Scott, because I did study Latin, but no one speaks it.
Okay, what are they? What are the languages?
Well, of course, German, right? Okay. You still hear that in my accent.
Sure.
It's hard to hide because I've lived in several different language zones. Spanish, Portuguese, French. My French is a little bit more rusty, but I can, I can make it work. Okay. And then the half language, I would say, and then of course English, right? But the half language, I would say, is Italian. So I can get through.
Are you learning that, or just you knew it before and just kind of got rusty, or is it something you're learning?
Yeah. So Italian is just like, Italy is so close to where I grew up.
Sure.
Like, yes, Austria is still on the way there, but it's like a thin strip. And then we would go to Italy all the time for mini vacations. Sure. And there would be a lot of Italian people also where I grew up. So.
Gotcha. That's you're so traveled. I mean, I did the traveling in the military, and I've seen like 36 countries over 7 years. So I've been to a lot of countries. Some countries I probably won't ever go back to, but just Europe is so beautiful. And literally, I was scheduled to go to Europe right before COVID for like 25 days and just kind of explore, not being on the clock of the military, right? And just being able to go. So hopefully that'll come again soon. But enough about me. Let's get to the roots of you. Like, how do you start and then kind of work your way up to now you're leveling up organizations, individuals, and all that great stuff?
Yes. I started in Germany, as we've already mentioned, and I've been through a lot of countries, several continents. So I'm going to keep it short because we could go on for a long time here. But basically, I spent a total of 16 years at the Boston Consulting Group in several different locations. I have my own businesses in Argentina and Brazil. Argentina went really, really great. I owned a bed and breakfast there. I also had to, deal with some challenges, of course, as always, right? Corruption is one of them, which I have dealt with a few times. But anyway, made it through all of that. Then in Brazil, I had also a brick and mortar business. And then in New York City, where I landed at the end of 2011. That's when I created my current business and founded a completely different business to what I'd ever had before. However, all the experience and the wisdom that we gain along the way in life always flows into our very unique approach, right? And this is how I became a transformational leadership coach, and I help with most of my clients being in leadership positions, I help them reach their next career goal and also then improve their leadership skills so they can better lead themselves and others. And I also want them to lead in a way that is value driven, that is bold, that doesn't always have to be mainstream or narrative oriented. So leading self always comes first for me.
Sure.
My coaching approach, I would say, is very holistic. And interestingly, more and more clients of mine also have expressed a desire to work on deep personal development,
Sure.
which then, of course, flows back into their work and into their leadership as well. And as a coach, I also facilitate trainings, workshops, and so on. And I love to inspire through speaking, whether it's in a room, right, in front of a room, or a webinar, or a podcast like this one right now.
Right. And you're so well presented, and you're always kind of leveling me up. You're like, Scott, you shoot me a text, hey, I'm going to do yoga. And it's like we align in like so many different ways. And you're just such a blessing to the people. But like, are you more kind of a one-on-one coach? Are you group setting, or what's your kind of forte there?
Yes. My coaching is mostly one-on-one because we tend to go very deep with the coaching through the holistic modalities that I studied in the past. I learned a lot about energy and about the subconscious mind. So, I talk a lot about mindset and heart set as a combination. And this is how I developed a very holistic approach, also through my multicultural experience, through speaking different languages, which has taught me so much as I moved along in life and lived in those different locations.
Right.
And I was seeing, not just the beautiful sides of the cultures, but also the shadow sides.
Right. I bet.
And I believe that it really has helped me understand people better. And this, of course, is beneficial when it comes to coaching people around their very specific needs and desires.
Why do you think
what's really been fun for me is that my clientele has been organically very diverse. And this is just the type of, people I attract, very many different people with different backgrounds. And the reason this is so much fun for me is because it forces me to always keep my mind open and learn a lot myself as well.
And a lot of people, they're attracted to your kind of being traveled, right? And being able to not judge from a point, especially any coach that judges, they're kind of sunk. But question I want to ask you is, why do you think people need coaching, and what is that light bulb that goes off that says, I'm finally going to hire a coach?
Well, there are very, very many different reasons. I just talked to somebody this morning who wants to upgrade her compensation. That is a very specific reason. Right. A lot of my clients want more recognition, whatever that looks like for everybody. For some, it's more money. For some, it's just being recognized for the value they bring to the table. For some, it's upgrading, has to do with upgrading their confidence and how they feel about the work they do.
Sure.
And it's recognition is really a key word, I would say.
Recognition. Why is that?
Because everybody somehow wants to be validated. Yes, it's true that we should not depend on validation by others, right, Scott? And the more we recognize our own value, and we can, as I like to say, know it, own it, and show it, the easier that becomes. However, we are all also social beings, and we want to be, seen. We want to be heard. With the work we do as well.
I love it. I love that you said the self-validation versus the external. It's where it all starts. And I can just see you kind of stretching their comfort zone and knowing that, people will stay in their comfort zone. That's where dreams go to die. And I can just see you stretching it. I love it. I love it, Regina. So if you're starting maybe in a discovery period with someone, which you said you had one this morning, is there any secret sauce you use, if you don't mind sharing, that maybe helps them identify that initial blind spot?
Well, first of all, I would say when people already talk about their comfort zones, it's no longer comfortable. Right? So I call it a convenience zone.
Ooh, love it.
Because once you have realized that, you no longer, you don't feel good. And don't we all want success to feel good? I mean, and to feel free. That's why we do what we do. And that's also why we want more money sometimes, and we want more flexibility, whatever it is for everybody. Now, what I help them see is that they are the ones to find their own path. A lot of people think they need role models, and I really don't think we need that.
Thank you.
I help my clients find their own unique
I love
brilliance.
this. I love it.
And I call it distinctive uniqueness.
Yes.
That has the two sides of the coin, though. It has the unique brilliance and genius on the one side of the coin, and our shortcomings or opportunities for growth on the other side, right?
I love it. And I love that you're not so much consulting, like telling them what to do, right? I love that you're coaching them. You see that light bulb go off above their head while you're coaching them. There's no better feeling than that, because I'm a big believer that everybody knows what they want. They just don't know how to talk themselves into it. And that's what a good coach, I believe, will help them level up to that and live a life of, options and not obligations, and be able to just release it. That's just beautiful. So maybe in this discovery conversation, is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
They would ask me, they never do. Wow, that's a really interesting question. Well, I think it would be interesting to answer the question, what I use a coach for.
Right. I want them to ask me, are you coached? That's it. And I want to show them my lineage, because they know that I have 4.5 coaches, I like to say.
Yeah.
Like you said, 5.5 languages. So I have the 4.5 coaches, and it's something that's very important for a coach to have coaches. I'm also blessed because I've interviewed over 500 coaches that where I can get in a pinch, I can call like you or somebody else and say, have the sitch, what do you think? And it's such a collaboration. I'm not a big believer in competition, especially when it comes to coaches, because there's already so many people out there that want to be coaches. And when I say want to be, more like wannabes, instead of, there's out there consulting instead of really letting that client, like you said, find their own validation within themselves. So how about, is there any kind of situation with coaching, without getting too much in the details, where maybe a failure or something within your coaching career that you've learned the most from?
I wouldn't say it's so much in my coaching career.
Okay.
I do know from all my experiences with, discovery calls, strategy calls, whatever we call them, that I really want to look for the best fit. And I think I've only actually had one case where that was not a given, and that was more in the beginning of the career. So to answer this question specifically, now there have definitely been other situations on my entrepreneurial path, right? Sure. It hasn't all been a bed of roses.
Sure.
This
Give
is
me a
my
juicy
third
one.
business. Sorry, a juicy one?
Give me a juicy one.
Yeah, so my other two businesses were brick and mortar businesses, which have different challenges, right?
Absolutely.
In different countries, Argentina and Brazil.
Right.
So I've definitely learned a lot of useful lessons through when I had to deal with corruption. Like, for example, I won a lawsuit against the city of Buenos Aires.
Okay.
Because back then I had an investor's visa, and as an investor, I had the obligation to open a business within a year, buy a house, have it built out, which is a little bit slower there than some other locations.
I've been to Buenos
at the time
Aires,
it was, at least.
Right.
So, and then I had to employ at least one person within that year and open the business and have a client. I did all of that. However, you also need a license. And they don't give you the license within that time. Okay. So you cannot comply with everything, basically. And I found out later that everybody was just paying them off, basically, the other bed and breakfast.
I had a situation, I was in the military, but I had the situation Mar del Plata in Argentina, right? When we were Mar del Plata and Buenos Aires, we're kind of a little sticky situation where when we reached into our pocket, we were okay. So I understand that. Thank you for sharing that. It's very transparent. I really do. So have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
I have, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah, it's like 38 years old, right? I mean, in 1985. So let's get that DeLorean with Marty McFly. Let's go back to the 22-year-old Regina. I don't know if it's Huber then. Let's go back to the 22-year-old Regina, and let's maybe, what kind of knowledge nuggets, so we call them here at Time to Shine today, what kind of knowledge nuggets might you drop on her? Not so much a change, because you are a storied, traveled, awesome lady, but maybe to shorten her learning curve or blast through just a little bit quicker.
Yeah, so one thing that I have learned is that we're actually not making mistakes. I have a lot of those juicy stories, I've taken a lot of risks in my life.
Sure.
So we
I
could go
cannot
on for
wait to meet
days
you,
if
by
I
the way,
told
and
you
hear
those.
some of these. I cannot wait to hear them. So,
But, it's always about learning and growing. And that's what life is about, because it's really important to always remember that if you think about it, there are no mistakes.
sure.
And the other thing that I think is crucial is that you are enough. And there was a time when I scoffed at that statement, Scott, when I said, oh, it sounds so basic and so cliche, but it's one of the most important realizations we can have. And I know you saw my recent LinkedIn article because you had commented on that. And I talked about what I know now at age 59. I don't have a problem saying my age,
No,
that I
great.
wish
Wow.
I'd known at 25. And, that was one of the things I mentioned there, because I did definitely depend a lot more on validation by others back then, and I wasn't even aware of it.
Sure.
But yeah, it's definitely, we're not supposed to be perfect. I believe we're all here to become or express the best version of ourselves, of who we have always been, really.
Oh,
And to make
wow.
a difference through that, through who we are, because purpose is about who we are more than about what we do. For example, you can do real estate and you can do it the right way or in a way that's not ethical, for example,
Sure.
right?
Which you and I both know that you're kind of going through something like that right now without sharing. It's kind of what brought us together actually into a conversation. I'm glad that you bring it up because it's something that I wasn't, and I'm very transparent with it. When I was younger, I was never breaking the law, but I went very, very gray area and things that probably crossed ethical boundaries, just not legal boundaries. And it's something that I paid a karmic debt for in 08, 09, and 10. And, you really learn from that. And no, I appreciate you, really sharing that. But how does Regina want her dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life date and death date. Hopefully it's way down the road, but how does Regina want her dash remembered?
I would like to be remembered as somebody who made an impact in people's lives by allowing them to see their unlimited potential and their immense inner power, and to also be able to use it while having fun with it.
Wow.
And I want to have the fun myself too, not just
sure.
them.
No, absolutely. That's the thing. It's like, people, I just believe that if you're chasing pleasure just to chase pleasure, I don't think it feels as good as when it's earned. And I'm not saying like working earned. I'm talking about living life and the experiences and really seeing that. No, I appreciate you saying that. So what do you think people might misunderstand the most about Regina?
I can sometimes be a bit mysterious.
Okay.
And
I thought when you said bit, I thought you were going to say bitch. I'm sorry. You're like, I can sometimes be a bitch. I was like, what? Sorry, I had to throw some humor.
That's so funny,
funny,
Scott, because I always say, like, jokingly, instead of going, I go to the beach, I say I go to the bitch, because there are there's people who have that slight,
I'm sorry
pronunciation.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
All right.
I'm sorry. What do
joke
people
on the
might
side.
misunderstand most about you? Sorry.
No, but yeah, no, a bit mysterious. I do believe that sometimes it takes people a while to get to know me. I have often wondered why that is, and through studying myself and who I am, how I come across, and more recently also my human design chart. That's a specific modality that I have studied more in detail lately. I have understood a bit more why that is.
Love it.
Now, of course, for different people, it's different things. am an initiator or a manifester in human design, and I have also a very strong will or ego center. So sometimes that can come across as a little bit self-centered.
Sure.
Being aware of that, though, I can tone it down and I can
Right.
position it in the right way, right?
No, I love that you're transparent about that. And I'm not sexist in any way, shape, or form, but you are a woman that really carries themselves, traveled very, people are just interested in you. And I can see where that might get people to, some people to be intimidated by it, right?
Yeah.
But they're really not it. But I just believe, my biggest superpower is coaching. I'm sorry, is curiosity. So I've probably blown up your phone talking to you about stuff, saying, asking questions. Yeah, we all have to be a lot.
It's my top leadership trait, Scott.
Right.
According to a test I did.
Good. Mine too, actually. So that's what you and I are, two peas in a pod. Love it. So what is your definition then of a life well lived?
Sorry?
What's your definition of a life well lived?
Well lived. It's a life that is filled with joyful moments, with lots of opportunities for growth. So in seeing the blessing in a so-called adversity. And I believe also that, if you never were wounded, you don't know how to heal. Oh. So it's really important for us to just take those opportunities and run with them. A life well lived is also a life where I was running my own race, where I was running my own show. Wow. And as you said earlier, sometimes you spend so much time, maybe not you and me, but people spend so much very precious time and energy on competing with others. Oh my gosh, energy and time that could be used so much better.
I love that you said that. We brought it up earlier where it's more like you can get so much more done with collaboration than competition, and that's it, or comparison, even because there's a lot of that with the social media comparison and whatnot. Because I make a New Year's resolution every year since 2010 when I had fantastic giants that I stood on their shoulders that really helped me through some crazy times. Is that one, make someone smile every single day, right? And two, unless I've hurt you, disrespected you, or owe you, I don't really care what you think about me because I'm out there. I'm going to serve as who I can, including myself. That's beautiful. So, squad, we're going to take my good friend Regina Huber through our leveling up lightning round just as soon as we get back from thanking our sponsors and affiliates. Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. We are back, and Regina, you and I will meet. We're so close, it's impossible for us not to at least meet up for a coffee or something. Some of these questions we might talk about might take 15, 20 minutes on each one, but in the leveling up lightning round, you get 5 seconds with no explanations. You ready to level up? And they can all be answered that fast.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Let's level up. Regina, what is the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
The best advice was to upgrade.
Love it. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
I do Wim Hof breathing literally every morning.
Me too. You and I are, oh my gosh, we're going to have to talk our calendar later. This is beautiful. If you see me walking down the street and you're like, yeah, Fergie looks like he's in his doldrums a little bit, what book might you hand me to level me up?
I might hand you Joe Dispenza's Becoming Supernatural.
Supernatural, yes, love it. What's your most commonly used emoji when you text?
The kiss mouth.
Okay, she did it on screen. If you see that, that's fantastic. Nicknames growing up?
Gini.
Okay. How do you spell that?
Gini.
Okay, got it. So
also genie, by the way. So that's sort of different, right? Genie in a bottle.
Yep. Love it. And don't lie to me here, but because you told us your age, but if you could stay one age physically for the rest of your life, keep the knowledge you've garnered and continue to gain wisdom, what age physically would you stay for the rest of your life?
37.
Thank you for putting a 3 on the front of that. I always say 32, 33. So I love it. Thank you so much. Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
Monopoly.
Gotcha. Headline for your life.
Life is a dance, dance is life.
Oh, I love it. And I know you dance. Beautiful. So what's a secret talent or power that you have that nobody knows about?
I would say a specific way of intuition.
Beautiful. Go-to ice cream flavor.
Pistachio.
Okay. There's a sandwich called the Ginny Genie in a bottle. Build that sandwich for me. What's on the sandwich?
On the sandwich, there's some great Bavarian mountain cheese, a spread of avocado, slices of cucumber, slices of radishes, some chili for the spice, and I think that's it.
Love it. Sounds great. Sounds great. Favorite charity and or organization you like to give your time or money to?
Well, I actually mostly give time to charities, and I've done a lot of that. But if I had millions in my bank account that I didn't have a meaningful destination
Earmarked
for, then I'd
right?
create then I'd create a charity that offers mindset programs and related support for homeless people.
Love that. Love it. Last question, and you can elaborate on this one, but what is the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
The best decade in music?
Of music, yes.
Oh, God, that's a hard one for me. So maybe 90s for me right now.
Okay.
So I actually, can I add this real quick? My
Sure.
favorite now music is contemporary Congolese music.
Okay. And you do the African dance, right?
Yeah.
The African dancing. That's amazing. That's fantastic. It's good movement, because after you told me, I had to YouTube it and Google it and stuff. And it's a lot of really good movement. It actually works great with kind of the Wim Hof breathing or the Ido Portal movement and stuff like that. It's beautiful. So how can we find you, Regina?
I have a LinkedIn profile and also a LinkedIn Career Growth Strategies newsletter, which is on my profile. Just look for my name, Regina Huber. I also have a YouTube channel with the same name. So it's at Regina Huber. And then I have my book on Amazon, Speak Up, Stand Out, and Shine, if you look for something inspiring there. And today I also have a gift.
What's the gift?
If you're really committed to up-leveling, I'm using your word,
up-leveling
your leadership of self or others or both, hopefully, then I'd love to support you in a 45-minute one-on-one session where we focus on one specific challenge that you're currently dealing with, or just something that you want guidance for, one thing. And I think we're going to put the link somewhere, right?
Yes, it'll absolutely be in the show notes. And also, I'm going to do a book giveaway for the first one that puts in Ginny Genie, GINIGENIIE. If anyone puts that, I don't care if it's Pinterest, I don't care if you text us to 561-440-3830, LinkedIn, anything, I will have a book mailed out to you. Speak Up, Stand Out, and Shine by my good friend here, Regina Huber. And I feel like an idiot for not knowing about this book, so I apologize, but I'm going to definitely buy the book for myself, because I read Kindle. I'm going to buy the Kindle edition right now, and I'm going to have a printed copy. Since I know Regina and we're going to meet up, I'll actually buy the copy and have you sign it, and I'll mail it out to him. That sound good?
Sure. Sounds
awesome.
Great.
Son, Regina, do me one last solid and leave us with one last knowledge nugget we can take with us, internalize, and take action.
Well, we talked about role models before, Scott. I think many people are searching for role models, but here's the thing, you really don't need a role model. And if you can't find one, no worries, because you are your own master. You don't need someone else to tell you what to do. If you need a role model, it's a little bit like asking someone, can you tell me where I want to go? Right. Doesn't make sense, right? So you got to figure that out for yourself, because your life path is absolutely unique to you, and your vision is unique to you, and you can use your vision as your GPS. Oh my gosh, that's strong. In Squad, we have had, basically, it was a fun conversation, my good friend Regina, but also kind of a masterclass. Regina's whole kind of goal and vision is life to help you, reach your next goal, with regards to whether you're in leadership or a house husband or wife that really knows that there's more. She's going to really work on going deep into the, within the holistic modalities, and not only the mindset, but the heart set as well. She organically kind of attracts the kind of people she wants to coach, because she is the person that's coaching, if that makes sense. It's like she brings the people into her life that she knows that
needs to, like she says, up level, or I say level up to the point where she knows that you know it and she wants you to show it. She wants to stretch that convenient zone for you. And she really believes that a good coach will help you find your path, not the path that the coach thinks that you should be on, but help you find your own path within your own distinctive uniqueness. You know, she reminds us that we're not making mistakes. We are always learning and growing, that you are enough. You know, it's not basically cliche to say that, but be unique. And if you get stuck, like my good friend Leah Woodford would say, get your asking gear, ask for the help. And that's somebody, ask us, and I'll put you in touch with Regina myself. You know, and she reminds us that your purpose is more about who you are than what you do. You know, she will be remembered as someone that made an impact in people, that allowing them to see their unlimited potential and use that power while having fun with it. And that a life well lived is filled with joyful moments, with opportunity for growth, and that you're running your own show. You're not, a cliche here, not, you know, dancing the beat of somebody else's drum. You know, she wants you to realize that you can never heal if you've never been wounded. So don't be afraid to go through those times, squad. You know, she's planting trees that she's never really going to sit in the shade of with her coaching and what she's doing. You don't, lastly, you know, she says you don't need a role model. You are your own master. Enjoy that journey, and your vision is your GPS, and follow that and enjoy the bumps, the bruises, the wins, the losses along the way. And that's what my good friend Regina does. She levels up her health. She levels up her wealth. She's humble, yet she's hungry. She's earned her varsity squad letter here at Time to Shine today. Thank you so much for coming on, Regina. I absolutely love your guts.
Thank you so much, Scott, for having me on. And you all live a freaking amazing life.
That's right. We'll chat soon.